as you know, about, $3.7 billion come from the federal government to our universities for research and development. There's also quite a bit of research and development tax credits and innovation programs. But in my study of this department and of this funding, it doesn't seem to be that there's any coherent strategy behind this funding that certainly would be focused on, say, sovereignty and our critical industries. So I want to ask you a bit about that. In particular, you said Canada must build the sovereign capabilities and productive capacity that underpin our resilience for decades. Very well said. So do you feel that the taxpayer funding for research and development to universities and or private enterprise should have a more strategic focus on ensuring it's contributing to our critical industries and the development of them?
So great question. Obviously, the granting councils provide various sources of funding from very fundamental to more mission-driven. I will say that in the context of defense industrial strategy, we have not yet seen more targeted funding related to the objectives that we're discussing today. So we're hoping this will come in light of the upcoming budget with more intentionality. So Borealis right now is a vehicle that has been announced, but not really explained in details how it would, for example, fund research and what mechanism it would use to transmit, this idea generation to corporations and commercialization and then public procurement. So that's really what we're hoping to see is the full continuum from research funding to public procurement. Yep.
And you'd mentioned in some of your previous writing, you've warned that vague industrial policy objectives tend to yield underwhelming results. And, within that, you've also pointed to DARPA, the U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, which, of course, clearly has been quite successful in contributing to their defense industrial strategy there. So if Canada were to build its own DARPA, would it be like this Borealis agency that you've alluded to?
I hope so, but everything will be in the execution of it.
Right, and what sort of metrics do you think we should be looking at to measure success?
Well, first, I think in the design of the institution, it's really important that it's not business as usual. So high risk, high reward, very focused on, the capabilities we're trying to build and link the research with the other parts of the innovation ecosystem. Mm-hmm. And so the reason that DARPA has been so successful, it has been very targeted, and the way it functions as an agency is very nimble, very agile, not bureaucratic at all. So I hope that we will follow this model.
Yes, thank you very much. And of course, in the last number of months, I think Canadians have been quite seized with these sovereignty issues. I think it's quite timely that we're studying this defense industrial policy. Those are inextricably linked, in my opinion. And I guess my concern is that we do fund research and development, whether through our public institutions or private enterprise, to the tune of billions of dollars. And again, it just doesn't seem to be focused on the industries that secure our food supply necessarily, or our defense technologies, or our computing capacity, or our transportation or telecommunications. Some of that is funded, but it's almost by accident, it seems, rather than a coherent strategy for that. So if you could make a recommendation to the Minister of Industry, including the Minister of Defense perhaps, how would you advise them to evolve the way that we're funding research and development to our universities and private enterprise?
Well, in this case of defense, I think targeted to sovereign capabilities, clearly identify them, then fund the research that comes with it. I think it has also to be targeted to technology development. I think it's really important. If we want to own our own technology, we have to first design it through research, obviously, and ideas and intellectual capital. And then I would say we need a modern science technology architecture. Our architecture is from the post-World War of the 40s, things like the National Research Council. We have a lot of silos in the ecosystem that is not working together. I would hope that the government gets kind of its ducks in order and puts a modern science and science technology architecture for the world we live in.